I have analysed several different Bleach characters on my channel, but none of them have been as underappreciated as a character that I'm analysing this week. In anime and manga, few characters can say that they have had a tragic life, like the life that has been lived by one of the best characters within Bleach, Kon, a Modsoul which inhabits a stuffed teddy bear. I know that a few people consider Kon to be the true hero of Bleach and the main protagonist, and I totally understand why people don't like Ichigo as a protagonist, because they thought that Kon would make a better protagonist. So in this video, I want to answer once and for all why Kon is one of the best characters within Bleach, and why he is so unloved and underappreciated, considering all of the heroic things that he has done in the series. Kon is a Modsoul that inhabits the body of a stuffed lion. The most striking aspects of his character are his beady black eyes, his small ears, and his surprisingly flat face. All of these attributes combine together to make an adorable character. Kon first appears in chapter 13 of the manga and in episode 6 of the anime, making him one of the earliest characters that we see featured within the Bleach story. Some would say that Kon's character is very perverted, but I think that he is rather smart, as he takes advantage of the fact that he is in the body of a stuffed animal. He uses this to his advantage by getting hugs from various different girls, including Rangiku, Rukia, and Orihime. Now, some of you may be wondering, what does Kon stand for? Well, the legendary character himself states that the initials of his name stand for King of New York. I mean, I don't think he's being cocky or sarcastic here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was indeed the King of New York. The tragedy of Kon's existence and his backstory leads to him having a great deal of value for life. As a Modsoul, he spent a great deal of time in his tablet form. He was afraid that one day he would be discovered and he would be discarded of. A Modsoul is a modified soul. They are artificial souls created by the Soul Society and were developed to enhance normal humans. This was done so that humans could be capable of battling against hollows. Modified souls were created from a Soul Society experiment called Project Spearhead. Traditionally, the number of hollows out there outnumber the number of Shinigami, so the idea of Modsouls was created so that humans could become strong enough to fight against hollows also. An individual possessed by a Modsoul will run much faster than an average human, and will possess strength which far exceeds that of a normal individual. We see this firsthand when the Modsoul Kon possesses Ichigo's body. Now, these artificially created souls are compressed into tiny candy-like pills. The original purpose of a Modsoul was so that it could be placed into the dead bodies of humans, so that the Soul Society could recruit more soldiers to fight against hollows. Because the Modsouls possess their own consciousness, they are independent and have personalities of their own, and it is mainly for this reason that the experiments with the Modsouls were terminated, and this was due to the moral and ethical implications of using human dead bodies as weapons against hollows. Similar to Orochimaru's reanimation jutsu, these Modsouls were bringing back to life dead people, although the difference here is that these reanimated bodies would possess the personality of the Modsoul and the consciousness of that Modsoul. The candy-like tablet which possessed the Modsoul of Kon was accidentally sent to Urahara's shop, and then Rukia obtains the Modsoul from Urahara, as both her and Ichigo accidentally let Kon loose in Karakura Town. An order was passed by the Soul Society to destroy all Modsouls, but Kon was saved from being destroyed by Rukia and Ichigo, who decided to place the Modsoul into the body of a stuffed lion plushie, and then sadly, after his initial introduction, Kon is just used as a tool to get Ichigo's soul out of his body so that he can fight in his Shinigami form. But of course, before I talk about the injustices that were done to Kon's character, let's first go over his tragic backstory, and speak more about these ethical implications of destroying these Modsouls, which have feelings of their own. In chapter 14, we learned that Urahara had placed Kon's Modsoul into a defective box ready for disposal, and it appears that Rukia was sold this bad product. Another interesting piece of information about Kon's backstory is revealed to us in a 2004 interview with Kubo. He states that the lion plushie that Kon uses for his body was purchased in Karakura Town at a festival. A child had wanted a more expensive plushie, but the parents had bought him the cheaper lion plushie. The child, of course, didn't like the cheap replacement for the actual plushie that he'd wanted, so the kid just threw it away. And this explains how Rukia and Ichigo had found the body that Kon would use, and consequently placing the Modsoul into the abandoned stuffed animal, bringing it to life. I mean, this really is tragic. Even before being possessed by a Modsoul, the stuffed animal was thrown away and rejected, similar to how Kon is treated within the series, as he is constantly rejected and being abandoned. I'm sure that you would agree that a character like Kon deserves much better than this. Kon is introduced into the story in chapter 13 after Rukia hands over to Ichigo the item that she bought from Urahara's shop. She hands him over a candy dispenser, which apparently contains substitute Shinigami tablets. They are used to force the soul out of one's body. This is given to Ichigo in case of an emergency if Rukia is not there and he needs to use his Shinigami form. Sure enough, Ichigo ends up taking one of these soul tablets, and predictably his soul leaves his body. The advantage of this is that Ichigo's body will not be lying around, it will at least be animated by having a replacement soul in there, so nobody will really raise any suspicions while Ichigo is in his Shinigami form. Funnily enough, when Kon first appears, he greets both Ichigo and Rukia very formally. He portrays himself as the ideal personality that any individual would have, as he says such memorable quotes like early to bed and early to rise. While Rukia takes Ichigo to fight hollows, they leave Kon in control of Ichigo's body, not knowing that they have allowed a defective soul to enter into his body. While in Ichigo's body, he demonstrates his incredible strength and his ability to jump really high, and of course his perverted nature, as he starts terrorizing Ichigo's classmates. Kon's targets for affection initially are Tatsuki and both Orihime. Of course, Rukia and Ichigo quickly return back to discover Kon wreaking havoc. A chase ensues as Kon uses Ichigo's body to run at incredible speeds. It is here that Rukia recognizes Kon as a Modsoul. Rukia is of course surprised that a Modsoul had survived, as all were ordered to be destroyed. Ichigo raises his concern for the prospect of destroying Modsouls. He states that they were created by the Soul Society after all, and their existence is being terminated because of the way that they were designed to be. Although Ichigo disagrees with destroying Modsouls, Rukia reminds him that the laws of the Soul Society exist to protect both human lives and souls. Ichigo thinks to himself that Kon has indeed controlled his body, but the fact of the matter is that Kon didn't ask to be born, and he has done nothing to deserve to be exterminated. But despite this, he survived being destroyed, and now that he is in a human body, he is on the run. Ichigo is the first person who shows any care or attention towards the circumstances regarding Kon's existence. He understandably wants to know how Kon feels being condemned to die. I mean, everything that he is doing now is for survival and making up for lost time. In chapter 15, Kon watches a group of boys playing on what appears to be a Game Boy Advance. They are talking about deleting one of the characters within their game, after the character didn't perform as well as one of the boys had wanted it to. You can see that Kon is actually affected by the nonchalant way that the boy just deletes one of the characters within his game without any concern. He states that he'll replace this deleted character with a new better version. This of course affects Kon because he was designed and created by the Soul Society, only to be immediately sentenced to death, not showing no care or consideration for the existence of these Modsouls. Kon eventually returns to save the three boys who end up being attacked by a hollow. He uses Ichigo's body to defend against the hollow's attacks. He moves the three boys from harm's way and even risks his own life in order to protect them. Ichigo and Rukia eventually arrive, and together both Kon and Ichigo defeat the hollow. Ichigo is understandably upset by the way that Kon has been mistreating his body, and the way that he has been fighting the hollow in Ichigo's body, which has resulted in him receiving injuries and even having his clothes ripped. After the hollow is defeated, Kon suddenly kicks the hollow up into the air. Ichigo questions why he did this, and it is revealed that Kon didn't want the hollow to land on a row of ants which were walking by. And it is here in chapter 16 that we learn that Kon values life greatly. He is unable to take the life from anything, even if it is as small as an ant. We found out that Kon knows that he was created by the Soul Society and was ordered to be destroyed by them. Literally one day after he was born, the day of his death was set. Kon was helplessly left in panic in his tablet form, as he was waiting for the day to die. All around him he had seen several different Modsouls who were his brothers and sisters all being killed. Kon luckily was able to escape when he was shipped out of the Soul Society by mistake, but he still had this expectation that he would be discovered and destroyed one day. While in his tablet form, Kon had a lot of time to think, and he had concluded to himself that nobody has the right to take the life of another. The very fact that Kon actually exists and has his own consciousness gives him the right to live and die by his own choice. So for this reason, he refuses to take the life of another. Urahara eventually does arrive and takes the Modsoul out of Ichigo's body, but Rukia and Ichigo take Kon back from Urahara. From this point on, Kon serves as comedic relief within the series, as we find out that Rukia and Ichigo were trying to find a body to place Kon's Modsoul into. That is until, as a last resort, they found a teddy bear that was thrown onto the street. They placed the Modsoul into the stuffed animal and it came to life. From this point onward, Kon is consistently abused and underappreciated. We see Ichigo in chapter 17 throw him out the window, and we see Rukia step on him. But it is hard to sympathize with Kon because he is pretty perverted and acts very cocky, and overall his character does lighten up the mood when the story gets really dark. What I find even more hilarious is that Ichigo and Rukia had no intention of putting the Modsoul into a human's body. They thought of putting it into the corpses of dead animals even. And there's a funny yet dark scene in chapter 17 where Rukia and Ichigo are waiting for a cat to be run over so that they can put the Modsoul into the corpse of the cat. Of course, thankfully none of this happens, but it is still funny to see the two of them sat there watching cars driving by. In chapter 26, titled Paradise is Nowhere, we get a Kon appreciation chapter. This chapter tells us about how Kon is fed up with living with Ichigo and Rukia. The chapter begins with Kon describing himself as a lone wolf, and how he was being mistreated by Rukia and Ichigo, and now he finds himself being picked up by Yuzu. We learned about how Kon finds himself in this situation where he looks absolutely beaten up. Kon's tragic day begins when Ichigo begins beating him against a wall in order to clean him because he is very dirty. Rukia then suggests to use Kon as a mop to clean the floor with. Kon is frustrated by the way that they are treating him. I mean, he considers himself as a part of their little crew, but the way they are behaving forces Kon to leave the house in order to find people who may appreciate him more. So chapter 26 involves Kon going to 3 different targets who he seeks affection from. His plans to get affection from Orihime fail. He then tries to seek acceptance from 3 girls from Ichigo's class, but they call him a filthy stuffed animal. After stepping on him, they hear Kon screaming and they just look at it in a strange way. Kon then runs away from the 3 of them as they try to chase after him. Kon concludes that all of Ichigo's friends are out of their minds. He just seeks attention and to be loved by someone. After running away from the 3 girls, he bumps into Chad, who then starts to chase after him because he actually likes cute stuffed animals. After being chased by Ichigo's friends, he eventually just comes back home, tired, frustrated, and even more dirtier than before. He feels too much shame to go back to Ichigo's room, so he goes into one of the other rooms and collapses in there. And it is here where Yuzu discovers Kon. Kon is then obviously cleaned up by Yuzu, but then he is dressed up by her too. She puts a dress on him and sews a flower to his ear. So yeah, Kon ends up running back to Ichigo's room in this really embarrassing dress. He then comes to accept that Ichigo and Rukia just have a hard time expressing their love for him. Obviously, he hopes that this is the case. In actuality, I've not read these chapters where Kon is goofing around in so many years, and genuinely re-experiencing them really does make me laugh out loud. We then see Kon in chapter 53 after Rukia runs away from Kurosaki Clinic. She tapes Kon's mouth shut in order to prevent him from telling Ichigo that she has ran away. The complete disrespect that she tapes Kon up behind the back of the toilet. I mean, how long was he there and how many people walked in to use the bathroom while he was taped there? Ichigo eventually finds Kon and together they make sense of the note that Rukia had left for Ichigo. During the early portions of the Arrancar arc, Ichigo discovers that Kon's body is in bad shape, so he enlists the help of Uryu to come and fix him. Unknown to Kon, and to me this is the first time that I've even noticed this, Uryu stitches a Quincy cross at the back of Kon's head. Later in chapter 185, Kon is taking over Ichigo's body and he is walking around Karakura town, and this is where he bumps into the Grand Fisher. Kon is of course saved by Isshin, and reveals that he has known about Kon ever since Ichigo's first battle with the Grand Fisher right at the beginning of the series, while Kon had taken over Ichigo's body so that he could go and fight the Grand Fisher when they had gone to visit Ichigo's mother's grave. Aside from this, Kon doesn't really appear much again in the series. I mean, he is disappointed in Ichigo when he leaves to train with the Vizards in chapter 217, and his disappearance causes Yuzu to start crying. Kon remarks that Ichigo isn't a good brother for allowing his sister to cry. But other than this, he does appear in the 1000 Year Blood War arc for a short cameo. Kon continues to be used and abused by the various different cast members of Bleach, as during the 1000 Year Blood War arc he is taken to the Shinigami Research and Development Institute. Ichigo doesn't recognize Kon because he has a entirely new physique. Kon of course has missed Ichigo because he hasn't seen him in so long, but Mayuri then reverts him back to his small size by pressing a button. Urahara later uses Kon as a communication device to speak with Ichigo. You can see that he is constantly being disrespected. During the 1000 Year Blood War arc in chapter 521, we learned that Kon was able to go to the Soul King's palace as he sneaks into Ichigo's clothes, hiding himself. Kon is used by Ichigo and Renji to cushion their fall when they first arrive at Uetsu Nimaya's palace. In chapter 522, Uetsu Nimaya refers to Kon as his soul brother. You can see that the person who has invented the Zanpakuto knows all about respecting Kon. The last time that we see Kon is in chapter 624. Ichigo confronts Yhwach and is thrown out of the Soul King's palace, but he is rescued by Orihime. But while they are floating back to the ground, Kon bursts out of Ichigo's pockets in his muscular form. This huge transformation ends up knocking out Ichigo. Understandably, Ichigo is really annoyed by Kon and just beats him up in chapter 624. Ichigo stops beating him up after Yoriichi interrupts interrupts them. And this is the last time that we see Kon, and we don't really know what happens to him after this. I've not read the Can't View Your Own World light novel, so I don't know if he's still alive or if he even survived the 1000-year Blood War arc. I feel like it's a shame and a missed opportunity on Kubo's part, the fact that he didn't reveal to us the outcome of the real main character of Bleach. I really hope that this video has helped you to appreciate Kon's character a lot more, and you get to understand all of the injustices that occurred with him. No, he didn't deserve to be kicked across a football pitch, or stepped on repeatedly, or even smacked against a wall. The only thing that Kon wanted was to be appreciated. And if you've made it to the end of this video and not realized that I was being really sarcastic, then I want you to know that Kon is an absolute piece of... If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, then please consider supporting my channel on Patreon. I have multiple tiers with rewards including access to an exclusive Discord server, video scripts, as well as being the first to know about unreleased upcoming videos. Thank you for your time, and whatever you choose to contribute I will appreciate, and it will mean a lot to me.